It's Larry Casso. Welcome you again to my studio, and I want to do something tonight pretty quickly. It's for a gift, and let me just describe a little bit about what I'm doing and what the scenery is. This is Brulator Courtyard. If any of you are familiar with it, it's where the WWL studio used to be on Royal Street, but it's a famous courtyard in New Orleans, and the thing I want you to notice is the depth in here. We're talking about the cool shadows, and I wanted to show you how I'm going to go in, and everywhere that it's really dark, Don, I'm going to go in and I'm going to put these really dark shadows in a mixture of ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. Now, the ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson, or the Q red, I call it. It gives you really cool color, and it gives you a lot of depth. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little light yellow color over here, and then I'm going to put all my darks in under here, go around this, go all the way down to here, and then I'm going to finish this and finish all of this, and then I'm going to come back and mix white paint with my other colors, and you'll see how quickly you can do something like this if you learn to plan it in your mind. Now, the reason I know I can do it is because I never worry about color. I always consider value. And if you get your values right, your colors will always take care of themselves. So, having said all that, let's take a little bit of the burnt sienna and the cadmium yellow, and I want it mostly yellow. I'm going to come over here now, and I want to paint just this part here. Whoop. Okay, let's take it off. Alright, I'm going to come around and do just this. And notice I like using this 1/2-inch brush and just about everything that I do. So we're going to come down, drag it like this, and then I'm really just only interested in this part. So the yellow is pretty strong, so I'll dilute it a little bit and bring it down to here. And if I feel like I still have it a little strong, which I don't think it will be when it dries, but you can always just come back and do this, you see. That's probably a little bit more like I want it. It's got a little bit more transparency. Okay, now let me clean my brush out real good, and I'm going to take that ultramarine blue and the cadmium red, alizarin crimson, and it's going to give me a really nice mauve looking color, which I like to use in my shadows, as you just found out, Bob, and why I'm so strong on it, because it's very transparent. And so we can have this on the screen, you can get an idea. But that's a little bit too bluish looking, so I'll take my burnt sienna, which I substitute for burnt umber, and I'm just going to tone it down just a tiny bit. Okay, now I want this to be pretty dark. I'm not going to mess around with it because I want to do it quickly, and that's the way you make decisions about this ahead of time, and just do it. Okay, now we'll just try this color here. All right, now I'm going to come here. This is called the vignette. A lot of people mistakenly call these ovals, but they're really classified as vignettes. Let me make sure I've got this lining up over here. This comes around here. So in my mind, I've already got this pretty well laid out. Okay, we're going to do this and this. Gives me a little bit more here. Now, I'm not worried about any of this detail. Just going to come around like this. And come on out again. Now notice how I'm just using the side of that brush, getting a little bit of that mauve looking color to come through it. And I'm going to come around here, and I want to go all the way down to the bottom and paint this over it, mostly for time's sake. Okay, I think this is going to be dry enough over here. So we'll come in like this. And I did a lot of these things in my lifetime. When I went to art school right down the street from Lafitte's blacksmith shop, and they have those. Some of you probably visited and saw They've always had banana trees on the side of them. I don't know whether they're still there or not. But those are interesting to study. Now I'm going to come around here and I'm going to continue with this all the way down. Now I purposely did it this way, and I'm doing it very transparently because I want my yellow color to come through, and you'll be amazed how pretty it looks because you got a cool color on top of a warm color, and it really does create a pretty nice effect. So let's mix up. Now I like mixing my color over and keeping it fresh. I don't like mixing a pile like a lot of people are afraid it's not going to look exactly the same. I'm not painting a wall. I'm painting a painting, and in nature and life it's just not that way. I put a little bit too much brown, so I'm going to dilute it, add enough water to it now. And I always keep a little thing like this around, test my color. Looks good. So let's come down here. I'm not worried about whether this is real even or not, because I'm going to come back over with it a lot darker than what you see on here. And this is going to go across like this, and bring it here. And again, I'm just going right over that line and coming all the way around here. And then I'm going to have it where I'm going to have a little bit of the light coming through along here, bring it in like this, and bring it on down. We'll cover all of this like this now. What, I got about 3 minutes, Millie?
No, I got me a Joe Light clock here.
Oh, good. Okay, now I'm going to come down like this now. Made sure I left a little double edge there. I'm going to, of course, this is going to be darker later, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. So we're going to come around here like this and do this. And I want this to be a lot darker, as I said, but we'll take care of that next. Okay. Now, notice how I'm putting in these large masses. Now I'm going to take me a little bit of that burnt sienna in yellow again. Except this is how I want to start it. Now you notice this bowl I've got, somebody stole their dog's stainless steel bowl and used it when they didn't have anything else to use, and the poor dog was out in the cold, man. He had to go back to plastic. And they got scrapes of money together and gave me one of them. And I tell you what, it's stainless and it'll hold a lot of water, and that sucker will flat out clean. You just run water on it, you never have any residue in it. Okay, now let's take a little bit of that plain yellow now. I'm going to do this. Now you won't really appreciate what I'm doing until I finish getting we're going to, now notice my light's going to be coming from the left side, so I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to go into it with a little bit of my middle tone brown. I'm going to bring it down like this, still keeping it relatively light, and all of this over on this side the same way. Now notice what I like of using a 1/2 inch brush. See, you know why? If I let myself use a small one, I'd still be probably where I started, working the paint back and forth, and not really getting the kind of effect that I want to get. Now, nice thing about that yellow, if I decide I want that a little stronger, you put it on there opaquely, it'll stand out very nicely. Okay, now I'm going to come down here, and I just got the idea I might put me a little bit of cadmium red with that brown. Let's see what that looks like. Overshot the mark a little bit, no big deal. As I come around like this, refresh your memory on a few things. See, this is wet up here, and I like that because that allows me now to excuse me, take the side of my brush, go up like this into these wet areas, and it just kind of gives it a nice smoother, rounder looking effect, and soften it. Okay, now on the opposite side, y'all remember the reflected light from lesson 1. Okay, you always want to have them. So we're going to come down like this. I probably could have made it a little lighter, but that's all right. It'll work. Okay, now while that's finalizing on the drying, I'm going to get me a little bit of blue, a little bit of brown. I'm going to take and put a little bit of black in it. I don't usually use too much black, but if I want to go in for the kill and make a very specific type of a color, then that's what I do. So I'm going to come in like this, bring it around, bring it up on here where I know it goes up underneath that that area there. Bring it out here. Now, I want this in. I'm going it real dark because I want all the other stuff to stand out very nicely. Okay, now I've got it over to the edge, so I'm going to take it now and we're going to wash it down here and soften that. And we're going to soften this a little bit again over here. Leave it a little bit of a texture. Now you're not going to believe how that's going to pop out when I get it a little bit further along. Alright, now for the last thing I want to do here, I know I want this darker. So I'm going to create this complete dark area down here. Now you notice the nice thing about it, I already have it planned in my head, not because I did it already, but I thought it through and how I was going to do it and what I was going to emphasize and de-emphasize. And then it's just to execute. Don't think about it, see, and that's hard to, start out and do when you're beginning, but it can be done, and that's what I think makes these little things like this to be very effective for everyone to see every now and then. All right, we're going to come around like this. Again, I got my real strong darks in here. Okay, and then I'm going to let that start drying a little bit. And I'm going to come in here and small brushes have a way of disappearing. Alright, now I'm going to take me a little bit of, I've got some brownish brick looking color over here, so let's put some bricks in this sucker. You notice I don't really sweat it being too perfect. Come up like this and like this. And then sometimes I'll just come in and I'll put rows. I don't even show any definition. Okay, now I'm going to let this dry. And then I've got some back here that I'm going to use a little bit more crimson with because I want them a little darker. So we're going to come in here and do this. See, and every now and then I'll just do it like that. Pick up some more bricks. And what I know and you don't is a lot of this I'm going to cover up completely with a dark. So whatever I don't like, I just cover up. But I'll get the basic thing in there. Okay. Now I think this is dry enough that I can come around here, take me just some plain burnt sienna, and wash this very lightly around the top of this edge. That's going to show the kind of lip at the top of it. And then I'm going to bring it down like this. Maybe make it a little stronger on the side. Notice the reason I don't waste any time is I always know I can, while something's drying, I can paint something else in. This is what I'm doing now. Okay. Now since we're going this far with it, and I've got that little brush in my hand, let's take a little bit of this now. And again, notice I'm using these solid colors. See, now this works really good, where you can. I don't stay in the lines too well here because I'm going to come back and put some strong darks behind it. So I'm just painting this now like it's all one. And again, I'm just interested in that first coat. I'm going to get it out of the way, letting this other stuff dry. What have I got, about 6 minutes, Miller?
I think you got 12 left.
12 left? I only started with 10, man. All right. Let me get me a little bit more, tone that wall down a little bit more up here before I get over and start painting this, and maybe put a little dry brush on it. Okay. Now, let's take that 1/2-inch brush again, and we're going to, again, I'm going to take the alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue. So I'm going to put a little black with it. If I don't watch it, I put a lot. I don't like to use black, and I didn't use it for years until I read a book by someone that said, what would John Singer Sargent or Van Ryn would have done without black? And they used it a lot. So it got me to thinking, after all of us, we learn a certain way, and we're comfortable with it, and we don't question it. But I thought it was valid, so what I like about it, I can use it and get really right to my strong darks in areas that I know are going to be real dark. And I only have to do it one time. Okay, now we're going to come over here, and you see I want all this solid. I really want this to be dark. And I'm going to let that come up. In fact, I'm making all of this in here such that, watch when I hit this part. Then I'll sort of stop it right here. You'll see in a minute. And I know I want this really dark down here. And then I'm going to come over here. This should be dry enough now. I want to continue all of these darks down here. And especially, I want it a little darker at the base. How's that looking? Okay. Because I want that to make that stand out a lot better. And we'll just take a little bit of this and blend it in. That's fine. But let's come over here and do the same thing again. Get the blue, get the alizarin, a little bit of black. I'm going to bring this all the way around. Anytime I mess it up, I just go over it, that's all. And I'm going to turn this around now. This is my archway. This is when it helps to have done a little sign painting in your lifetime, which I did. In fact, this really is a sign painter's brush that I use, and I've always used, more in recent times that I've tried to be a little more spontaneous and not worry so much about detail. And I've read for years that what you want to aim for when you're painting in watercolor is to use the biggest brush you can use and only go down smaller when you absolutely need to do it. And I never could accept that. I'm like everybody else. I wanted those little number 2 brushes, and I wanted them where I could feel like I was in complete control of what I was doing. Okay, now we just bring this on across. We just probably got this sucker done. But it's all lights, middle tones, and darks, folks. It's no Big secret to it. If you paint value, and it's the hardest lesson to learn and accept, because we all want to take that little bitty brush and paint detail, but it's all value. And okay, come up here. I think I'll let it come around. Maybe allow that lighter area at the top. Okay. Now, let's come back. Same colors, maybe not quite so dark. I'm going to come back over this wall right here. It looks real dark, but I'm going to lighten it. And I want it to look like the shadows being cast. And see what I was showing you, Don, about how I can take this transparently. I might be lifting some of that red because of its burnt sienna, but I think that when it dries, and besides, I don't care. You know, it's just my painting. I don't have to follow any rules but the rules I make. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of this lighter, and I want this to not be as dark as this is, or as light, or as dark as what's behind it. I just want this to be receding. Could have probably let that dry a little bit more around it, but that's good enough for what I want. Okay, let's take a little bit of our darker brown and blue. Okay, now I notice I lost a little bit of my color in here that I wanted. Or not color, I lost the value. So I'll just resurrect it. Okay. Take that brown. Make this just a tiny bit darker. Leave it, make sure I leave that ledge. Okay. Now I know I'm going to have a kind of lighter grayish foreground here, so why not go ahead and put it in now? Some of it might run a little bit. I just not put some paint in it. I hope somebody around here knows how to use that sandpaper to fix it for me.
I do.
Oh man, we got a volunteer already. That's great. Okay. Now, Bob, if I could ask you to kindly, no, that's okay. Yeah, just blow dry that real quickly for me. It looks a little terribly dark right now, but we'll pull it out. What you think? Fun. Well, that's why I remember the things I remembered more than anything else is myself is every now and then I'd get to see somebody demonstrate a little something, you know, and especially when you can see the whole picture completed. So everything's pretty much in there now. And I'm doing this because it's such a recognizable thing. Okay, Bob, that ought to probably do it. That's okay, Bob. Okay, thank you. Now, one thing I know I'd like to do is come in, take some of Miller's white, and I do want this to be a little brighter. And this is where it's really, you got to know how to use this white. I'm using it like an oil now, or like an acrylic. See, and it's the time to do it. I want this to be very, very bright. And then I'll take a little water like this and soften it. Okay. Now, there's a little small round brush here. There it is. First thing I want to do is get my main things to stand out, which is going to be let's take the yellow and the green. I want the lighter leaves. So we're going to start with that first, and then we'll take a little white and put it with it, just to make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. And then we'll start here, and now I just got to stop and do something here that I know I needed to. I should have done it a little bit more than a minute ago, but it's all right. That all needs to be lost. And see, I'll flip a few of these out like this to make it look like it's going to be shadows coming off that thing on the top. Okay, now let's just take and start putting in some grassy stuff here. Get this brush to cooperate a little more. Now whenever you're doing things like this, you know you're going to have a pretty solid area coming out. So now some of this I probably should have a little bit of this, a little bit of brown, a little bit of blue. Cut the side of that one down a little bit. Okay, we'll come back to this now. Have y'all ever see this place? You probably have. It's behind the whatever that, or close to the Monteleone Hotel, or maybe behind it. You see, when you're doing things like this, you always want to cross them. Anytime you're doing any kind of grassy things, and this is just to get kind of a lighter tone, middle tone type area in here. I got to kind of leave some of this a little bit too. Okay. Now I'm going to come back with my yellow, pure yellow, and my white. And let's get a little bit more of that yellow in it. And just start highlighting a few of these. I'm not getting the yellow to respond quite like I would like it to, but it's okay. I've got to wait for this to dry a little bit on this side, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to go back to my lighter green. Now I'm going to start putting some of this. I guess this looks like that, what's it, Lario grass?
Yeah, there we go.
God, man, I don't even like to have a name close to that stuff, man. That was worse. Every time somebody would want to get rid of Lario, they'd bring it to Sybil, and old Lario had to go plant it. If you know what I'm talking about, if you ever food with that stuff, it was aggravating. Now see, I'm anticipating this is going to dry darker. If it doesn't, Don, what I'll do is, see how I'm purposely leaving a lot of this, the black come through? Because I want it to look like a bed. Some of that may be a little bit bright up here, but I feel like it might need a little bit more brightness to it. So let's just get it to settle down like that. And then I'll take a little bit of my color like this. This is just some dirty gray. Maybe add a little black to it. Getting a little muddy with those colors. Now, then I'm going to go for the straight black now, because all I want to do really is put in a few more details. Like, I'd like to come in and kind of outline a few of these. This is just a little technique to kind of fill you in on how to do things like this. If you accent a few of them, then it'll carry the whole thing, see, and make it not quite so monotonous. Now I'm kind of waiting to do this area over here, because it's still not completely dry. I think I can probably go in and do it now. So let's just go with this green, see if it'll show. Oh, that'll be fine. We're going to do that. Come back now with some of that yellow. See if I can get the yellow to work direct from the tube. Sometimes it's a little hard to maintain the detail with it. And what I purposely do is, if I start getting monotonous, I just keep going back over with different sections like this, crossing it, doing that kind of thing, and it really does tone it down. All right. Now again, I didn't want this grass to be quite this, shall we say, bright. So I'm just going to come in, and I know, see, Don, this is what I was trying to tell you a minute ago. That's got a lot of white in it, but I can still go over it, okay, as long as I don't keep working it. And it'll look muddy in the beginning, but then all of your other starts coming through. Now back in the back here, we want to get some of this coming out of it where it looks like it's really in shadow behind it. So we'll just kind of bring this around like this. And start maybe breaking up a little bit of this in here, having a few accent places. I think that's going to be sufficient. I do need, though, to have some of this a little bit darker. So, a couple of small things now. We got it, hopefully. All right, now let's go back to that half-inch brush. We're going to take the green and probably use it diluted, almost straight, to do this part. See what this looks like. It's a little dark. Probably could have used a little bit more yellow or let the yellow come through, but that's all right. It's about the same color of what they should be. And let the imagination take over. Nobody's ever seen these in a quarter, you know. I've painted them all the time, and I know them like the back of my hand, and it really is interesting. Okay, let's get a little bit more dark up here. A little of the black. Then I'll drag some of that down along that edge. Make that stand out a little bit more. I'm going to come in on the bottom now. Let's watch what it's got plain white down there. Just put a couple of lines in. One going that way, one going that way. Maybe one over here. And then I'm going to continue one here, see? And then maybe one here. Have it cross in here a little bit. And then we can come in, take a little bit darker color and do this. See, that's kind of standing out too much, so I want it to look a little more weathered. Settle that down like that. I think we ought to call it quits. What y'all think?
Beautiful.
Think it made it?
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all. Hope you enjoyed it. Every now and then I think it's good to get to see something like that.
The intensity of the color seems to be greater on the TV.
You know what? I think my TV is going out. I really do, unless my eyes are failing, but you're correct. And they're always going to be different, Bob, no matter what you do in one. Think it'll make it?
It looks much better here than it does on the TV.
I know it.
Yeah.